Hey guys, welcome again to Nana&Jay, and today we have a fantastic podcast for you guys. I think it's always important to actually dive deep into different people that are within the tech industry, and also in recruitment as well, because recruitment is such a big part of being recruited effectively. And I think it was important for us to bring on someone who is in that industry. So we have here Ab, who's not only a recruiter, but also, a really, really good friend of mine. So Ab, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
And obviously we have Jay as well, as usual.
His younger brother. Yeah, guys, super excited for this segment. We get tons of questions around, how can we actually embark into the sales journey? What are some of the things and who are some of the people that we should be working with to actually help us? I think recruiters in itself are a huge asset. So I'm really excited to have my big brother here to share his experience of, how he helps candidates and, set them up for success, and really kind of put their best foot forward into landing that all important first sales role. So yeah, super excited to have you here.
Yeah. Thanks guys. Thanks for having me. It's a great opportunity to sort of help people get jobs. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. And guys, if you like content like this, make sure you like and subscribe. And guys, make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms, our TikTok, Instagram. And also make sure, guys, if you want to dive even deeper into what we do, make sure to visit edutechsales.com and book in a consultation call. And also we've got some free training there as well.
Yeah.
So with that being said, let's get started.
Awesome.
So first of all, Ab, would you like to introduce yourself, what you do, and tell us a little bit about how you got into recruitment, maybe.
Excellent. So name's Ab Lagandere. I'm a talent delivery manager. I work for an RPO. Quite a few of you might be going, what is an RPO? In terms of recruitment, there's three types of recruiters. You've got an internal recruiter who actually work for the business. You've got a 360 agency that are looking to work on that role, so they'll actually message businesses to try and get on to work on that role. And you have an RPO like myself, which are businesses outsource their internal recruitment functions to third parties like myself that would do their recruitment. So technically we are the internal recruitment team for a lot of businesses who don't want to do the recruitment themselves. They'll outsource it to us. We will handle their recruitment process and make it as smooth and seamless as possible as well. So I've been in recruitment for 8 years in February. So I've been there for a long time. I think everyone that goes into recruitment falls into recruitment. So you never go in going, I actually want to be a recruiter.
Can I give a disclaimer? So, and Ab knows this. I don't think you know this.
Yeah, go on.
So I tried a stint in recruitment for 3 months.
You did what?
I tried a stint in recruitment for 3 months, guys, and it basically ate me up and swallowed me outside.
Really?
So anyone that's been there for 8 years is clearly very good at what they do.
100%. You kept that a bit quiet.
Yeah, it wasn't my most successful. I've had a very successful career, and it wasn't part of that part of that journey. So yeah, I completely resonate with that. And I think the first question that comes to mind for me, it's we often get people that reach out and say, how should we work with recruiters?
Yeah.
From your perspective, how would you suggest people get in contact with recruiters? Is there kind of a certain channel or format, or how would you kind of best advise that?
There is no one way to contact a recruiter. Technically, if your CV is on the job board or you're on LinkedIn, they will find you. You don't have to worry about that. Yeah. Especially if you put your LinkedIn as open to work. Trust me, loads of recruiters are going to find you, internal, 360, RPO. But it's also spotting the good type of recruiters.
Yeah.
But because recruitment can be an industry that you've got good recruiters, you've got bad recruiters, you've got people that are just starting up, people that have been there for a long time. So I wouldn't say you go start chasing for recruiters.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you're looking for a job, they will find you and chase you.
And what's your view on the open to work? So on LinkedIn, guys, there's a banner that comes up on your profile picture where it says open to work, which people can see. Mm-hmm. So I've always been a little bit skeptical of that.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing it for quite some time. I'm always quite, if I was looking for a new role, I've always been a bit hesitant to put that on there.
Yeah.
How is that perceived from the recruitment perspective, but also hiring managers and sales managers.
Not gonna lie to you, if I see someone that says open to work, I'm smiling.
Okay.
Because when someone's open to work, there is no I'm pestering you, I'm trying to get a hold of you. You are looking to find a new work. I've probably got work. It's a nice, quick, easy transaction.
Sure.
Because I'm sure all of us on LinkedIn, you've had that message from recruiters.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm looking to, and you're like,
wrong timing.
Wrong timing, not interested.
Guys, change your profiles to open to work. You've just graduated from uni. You've got you've done well. Set your profiles to open to work. It's a good thing.
So I think let's start on kind of the first instance, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm just imagining myself when I first left university. And I was, funny enough, there's a story around that actually. So there was, when I first finished uni, I really wanted to get into the world of sales. So what's the first thing you do? You phone up and you call recruiters, right?
Yeah.
And one of the first places that I called, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name. I'll probably not say the name.
No, say the name. We can censor this out.
So it was a company called.
Okay.
Right? So imagine me fresh out of university thinking to myself, okay, let me pick up the phone and let me call these guys. Their job is to help me get a job. I phoned them up. I promise you guys, I didn't even last 5 seconds or 10 seconds in the conversation.
Yeah.
They hung up the phone on me saying I wasn't good enough.
I do remember the story.
So,
Wow.
so I know that when you're starting out and you have no sales experience, it's very hard for recruiters to take you seriously because from their onset, they're looking at you as a commodity.
Yeah.
And your commodity is your experience effectively as an individual.
Yeah.
So if you're starting out completely out of university and you want to contact recruiters, would you recommend contacting a recruiter in the instance or maybe getting some experience first, then making your way to the right recruiter who can now position you properly?
I would say, again, because I deal with a lot of graduates, a lot of people that finish uni, and the one thing I always try to help people understand, especially out of uni, is if you don't have any experience, your expectation needs to come down. Experience is one of the most important thing, even if it's voluntary experience, if it's some type of experience, just because straight out of uni, if you've got no experience, the most likelihood is you're going to have to go for a graduate job. And again, that's competing against multiple graduates. But if you're just looking for a sales job, you're not just only competing with graduates, you're competing with people that have worked in sales.
Of course.
Years, who've done it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. And again, that recruiter, for me, should have hung up the phone. Being honest with you, that's a bad experience.
Yeah.
Again, part of recruitment is obviously that candidate journey. So me personally, I would have given you some advice. I would be like, look at your CV. Okay, for the role you are looking to apply for, you're just not ready for it. You need to gain some experience, even if it's sales, even if you're looking to get into tech sales, where you have sales experience. As a recruiter, I can work with that because it's my job to speak to the manager and say, look, I've got someone here. He's young, he's raw, he's done IT, he's got an IT degree, got interest in sales, he's done this type of sales, transferable skills, he's hungry. So I mean, you're giving us something to work with. If you've just got either no experience or you've got retail experience, like 9 out of 10 times, people, especially in sales, look for experienced people. Even when you think about junior, you're looking for transferable skills. What's your transferable skill?
Yeah, and I think your perspective is really interesting because, you've helped recruit different sales roles from entry level right to, VPs. Yeah. You've also worked across a multitude of different industries. So going back to the kind of the CV point, are there things that people can do on their CV that, from a recruitment perspective, really kind of makes you stand out, or things that you would recommend people should do on their CV?
And just to piggyback on that point, because it ties in with that as well. If you're brand new to the industry, let's say you just graduated, are there anything that you could be doing it in university, for example, societies, that you can bolt onto your CV that will make you stand out more?
Again, if you're looking to go into a sales job, you want to do something that's got transferable sales. So either you're working to targets, even if you think about it, a lot of retail right now have targets, have KPIs. What are your KPIs? How do you do against those KPIs? And those are the type of information as a salesperson should be on your CV. If you're a salesperson and your KPIs are not on your CV, or you don't know your KPIs, or you don't know how you performed that year, I would be questioning. Is sales the thing for you? Because anyone that works in sales, we're all very bullish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made this amount last year. I did this
of course.
month. My best ever month is this.
Yeah.
Even if you work in, I don't know, Top Man, Top Shop. My wife used to work in Kurt Geiger. They had a sales target. So they had to sell a certain amount of things. So putting your sales target is very important. Even if you feel like, oh no, it might not be relevant. Like, people don't know, my first ever job was actually door-to-door sales.
Oh wow.
That was my first ever job. And
I didn't know that actually.
yeah, I was for British Heart Foundation. And for me, that's actually the most difficult type of sell out there. Even if you do something like that, because to catch someone's attention when you're knocking on their door takes a very special type of person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for me, when I used to do that, and I'm a big football fan. If I did it on a Saturday and I'm here soccer Saturday on the background, oh, who do you support? West Ham. As soon as he says West Ham, my brain is now working. I'm working the angle of, oh, good, they're doing this well. But look, did you see about someone that had a heart attack? Mwamba that had a heart attack in Bolton. So now with British Heart Foundation, we're looking to introduce this new therapy. Bang! I've already linked something to what his interest is, and Greg sort of grasped that. So door-to-door sales, even though you don't get paid a salary, it's fully 100% commission. Is probably one of the hardest type of sales possible. So even that, if you do that for a year, straight away, if I see someone that's done door-to-door sales, for me, I'm like, oh yeah, that means this person can do it, because that is a difficult job and a difficult skill to get someone's attention within the first 5 minutes.
And do you think that people, how much of sales do you think is more mindset that can be taught versus skill or innate ability? And I'm going somewhere with this because we often get questions, we've been running the business and coaching people for quite some time. And sometimes people are a little bit skeptical of, do you think that I would be good at sales?
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think there's one formula for this is a great salesperson.
No.
So I'd love to get your perspective of that.
Literally, that's what I say to everyone.
Yeah.
So I manage a team and I always say to people, even when I'm recruiting as well, there is no right way to do sales. I actually want people to be a salesperson that's unique to themselves. So again, you've got some people that are quite friendly, interactive. You've got some people that are quite bullish. You've got some people that are different things. There is no right way. I think the most important thing about sales, you need to be hungry. If you're not hungry and looking to go into sales, it will eat you up, just because there is that sort of determination that's needed. Because again, with anyone that works in the sales world, I think we all know that there's highs, there's lows, and there's highs again,
and there's
everything
lows in between.
everything in between. So
there's a stuff in between as well, which you can't quite put a name on it.
No, you can't. So to fair, I think the skill part of it, you get taught, no matter what industry you sales you go into, you get told the unique sales, and there's so much sort of e-learning and things out there for the skill of sales, but the actual concept of what my sales technique is for me is different from what it would be for you, So that's your USP, that's your unique selling point.
Yeah.
So it's just understanding, okay, so-and-so is a great salesperson. Okay, brilliant. How does he do it? Okay, what parts can I take from him that I can add to me, and I can still be a great salesperson in my own way?
Yeah.
So I would say a salesperson is not, I would say it depends on the individual and what motivates them, what drives them, what's their thinking like. Yeah. Just because sales can be taught to you, but the actual aspects that come with it, you either have it or you don't.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because I read in Grant Cardone's book, Sell or Be Sold.
Yeah.
It's actually one of my favorite sales books, actually. And he actually mentions that everyone is born a salesperson in a way, because if you think of children, they're probably the best salespeople out there. They will cry, they will kick, they will knock stuff down just to get what they want, right? So we're almost all born salespeople in a way, but we just have to kind of fine tune that skill, because we always say this: you're either selling or being sold too, right?
Absolutely.
But he also makes a statement that closing is the thing that one has to learn, because no one is actually taught how to close, and closing is actually a step-by-step methodology that you have to go through to make sure that you land that close. Do you guys, believe in that, or do you guys think something different?
There's two things. You've got people that are natural closers.
Yeah.
Like you no matter what, they can just close. Yeah. And you've got people that their experience gives them the ability to close, so they know when that situation comes forward, how to deal with it. So closing is there's different types of techniques to closing, and actually understanding those techniques is actually very important. But also understanding, even when you do fail, learn from that failure. Okay, what could I have done better? Okay, the person gave me this signal. Did I actually see that signal? Did I actually close it? And you've got some natural predators that are see a close opportunity, they close it.
Yeah.
And I think there's different types of closing as well,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you know, a lot of people that follow us are, you know, graduates or relatively young 20s,
Sure.
looking to, you know, go into the, you know, sales career. And you know, when I think of closing, it makes me laugh actually, because I was a very good SDR to start, but then when I transitioned into an account manager, it took me a bit of time to be as good as I was as an SDR, because it was a different type of closing, right? I think there's closing, asking someone for like a meeting or a call to action on the phone from a cold call.
Yeah.
And then there's closing, asking someone to spend hundreds of £1,000s on software.
Yeah.
It's a slightly different close.
Yeah, of course.
But I agree. I think how you kind of depicted closing in general, I'm very much aligned to that. I think people are natural salespeople, and it's then rounding off the edges and getting the skills to do the other part of it.
And I think it's also dependent on your industry as well, if I'm correct, right? Because closing for your industry might be slightly different to closing in my industry, biotech. Because I'm guessing, I don't know how tech is, or how specific the customer you're dealing with is, but you might need to be a bit more bullish. But I know that in biotech, everything needs to be very much, you know, rounded off the edges. Everything's long term. You know, you have to really focus on the NHS plans. So it's quite different depending on the industry.
So you're basically saying your industry has more finesse than mine.
Yeah,
a lot more red tape.
I'm insulted, guys.
A lot more red tape, put it that way.
No, to be fair, even in my industry, because recruitment, our closing is getting people to actually say yes to a job.
Yeah.
And for us, our product is people.
Yeah.
And people are actually one of the most unpredictable things on this planet. And so even understand it, that's why a lot of the times when I do speak to candidates, I always try to find out what's the reason for you living, sort of looking to leave your role. What's the purpose of you looking for a job? And when it does come to now actually closing, is bringing that purpose back to the forefront. You've done all the hard job, you've gone for the interview, you've done up your CV. Now they want to offer you the job, and you're going, oh, I'm not sure this, I'm not sure that. Why were you looking at this job? Why were you looking at this company? Okay, do you remember the reason? Oh, no, I don't. This is the reason. No, what's your concern? Again, information and knowledge is power. So you try to give people as much information as possible, even just regarding, look, this is how to get to that office. This is what the work environment is. This is people that have worked there. This is the salary. Break it down to what it would be monthly, after tax, before tax. You want to give people as much information. So like I said, closing is different in different sales industries, but also very transferable, because again, the type of closer I am, if I was to come into you guys' industry, you'd be like, okay, what's this guy doing? It's a bit different because I'm used to it.
You adapt it.
I adapt it because, again, started off with British. I've done different types of sales, because I've done sort of door-to-door sales. I've done over-the-phone sales. So, you know, for me, sales is sales. There is a different. The product can change, but how you sell to people doesn't. But yeah, it is. There is no one right way to do anything. That's the thing.
Sorry,
go.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, so I've got a question which, because you know, I'm trying to think about in our audience shoes, you know, we've got a great, you know, you can probably tell how excited I am to have my big brother on a podcast with me, but, you know, we've got to, you know, we think about the journey that people go from, you know, we've spoken about the mindset, we've spoken about getting the CV right. Nana actually had a really interesting discovery call with someone that was looking to get into sales, and one of the things that she was quite interested in is, now that I've done my CV, how do I actually start to apply for roles? What are some of the, you know, the channels that I can use, and how should I do it? How can I spot a fast growing good company to apply for versus one that isn't on the right trajectory? I'd love to get your thoughts on, you know,
to say, you've done your question is sort of twofold in terms of actually applying for jobs. I would say using the traditional job boards like Reed, Total Jobs, Indeed to apply for jobs. But again, for the type of industry, especially if you're looking at tech sales, LinkedIn is the best way. If you go on LinkedIn jobs, a lot of tech sales is there. But I would also say do your research. Because again, you could do your research on Google, LinkedIn, and you could say, for example, Barclays is looking for a SaaS salesperson. Look at Barclays information. Just don't do your research about the company. Like, what was their turnover like? Okay, how many people work at the company in that office that's in London? What departments are in London?
Yeah.
You know, just don't apply for a job, because I think a lot of people make the mistake of applying for jobs but not actually looking at the company they're applying for.
Just the spray and pray approach, right?
Oh, trust me, the amount of times I've spoken to candidates and they've been like, "Oh, I've applied for loads of jobs. Which job is this?" And you're like, "Oh no, it doesn't look good. It should be, if you're going to apply for a specific job, apply for a specific job, but know who you're applying for. Oh yes, I applied for that insurance job, or no, I applied for that IT job." You want to make sure you've also done your research 100%. Because you know it does help you when you actually, if you do get an interview, that you've actually done your research already.
It's funny you say that, because early on in my career, I remember I actually went to apply for a job to one of the biggest pharmaceutical companies. I'm not going to mention it, but it was a big one. You know, I'm gonna mention it. I don't
name drop in there.
But you know, they love the fact that I personalized my CV for them. You know, I even went as far. I was early on in my career, so I did some mistakes. But even though there were mistakes, they really worked. And the mistake was I actually put their logo on the CV to let them know that, look, guys, I'm applying for you specifically.
I love that.
And they loved that, you know, and they called me for the interview, and I, you know, and I got the job as well. So I completely resonate with what you were saying. And just to follow on from that, actually had talent acquisition specialist working for them. So what is the difference between applying for companies with talent acquisition specialists and recruiters? Are there any differences?
So that's my job title. So I'm a talent delivery manager. So again, going back to the initial question, anyone that's a talent acquisition or talent consultant, that they are technically part of the internal recruitment team for that company. So basically you're dealing straight with the horse. You're not going for an intermediary to speak to the company. So if you're dealing with a talent acquisition person, great, you're actually dealing with someone that works for the company or behalf of that company. So it's actually even better. So like I said, the difference between that is they're technically an internal recruitment team. They control that internal recruitment process, while an agency, they're the middle person between you and that talent acquisition, HR. Because again, some businesses have their HR function that sort of deal with recruitment. So again, it's just understanding the dynamic of someone who's actually a 360 agency, or someone who's actually and it works directly for Barclays, Halifax, or so on and so on. So
And one thing that actually works quite well for me in the onset, I don't know if you're going to tell me I'm completely doing the wrong thing, but it works for me either way, was a lot of talent acquisition specialists have their phone numbers in LinkedIn. So I actually used to pick up the phone and call them up. John, I want this job.
I'm laughing because it's genius. Like one thing I always, not to blow too much smoke in Nana's way, but he does have a great way of thinking outside of the box. So and I think this is really, you know, we laugh, but I think this is really important to mention. When you look at it from a graduate or someone that's relatively young with no experience that wants to break into the industry, one of the things that we always teach people is think outside of the box,
100%.
do things that other people won't do. And I think that's a great example of something that 99.9% of people won't do. And the moment you do that, you automatically stand out.
Because my thought was, their number's there. It has to be there for a reason.
Two things with that.
Michael.
Firstly, I would be, you're very ballsy. What the hell? But yes, again, it depends on the individual you're dealing with. Like again, it goes back to what I was saying. It's my recruitment, you're dealing with people. Now, it depends on the individual you're speaking with. Some people might go, I like his approach, I'm going to do it. Some people will be like, can I help you? Again,
I see.
it's how you, again, you can never judge who you're going to deal with. I would personally drop a message on LinkedIn first. Then if they don't respond, you can try your way. I wouldn't say don't try your way, but the response you will get depends on the individual you're dealing with, and that's just the thing.
And how do you spot because we've got some questions actually that came through before this session that we wanted to make sure that, you know, our subscribers that got a chance to hear your perspective. What are some of the things that you can do to spot a good recruiter versus a recruiter that probably isn't as good. Because I think that's, in a game that's filled with a lot of recruiters, what are some of the things that people can do to make sure they're working with the right sort of person?
So the one thing I do want to sort of let people know, there is no right way to spot who's good and who's bad. I think in same way if you go shopping, if you want to buy a pair of shoes, you don't know what's good or bad until you've bought it, used it, experienced it. But there's little signs that can tell you about a recruiter. First thing, I always look at people's experience. Now, if someone has done recruitment for a long period of time, they probably understand the process and know what they're doing. If you're dealing with someone who's done it for 2 to 3 months, they're very junior.
Yep.
Like they probably don't know the whole process. They're probably still in training. So again, it depends, because you can have work with people that have done it for 10 years and still come across someone that's very rude or doesn't know the process. So I wouldn't say. I think you would know from dealing with that person what's going on. I also recommendations on people's LinkedIn. So if people have recommended them or left messages about their experience with them, have a read of that. But also, you will be the judge of that. So if you speak to someone and they're telling you about a job, but they don't know how to explain the job, they don't know about the salary, they don't know about the company, don't know about the location, that's really warning signs of, so what do you know?
Yeah.
So again, speaking to people, and then again, how people come across on the phone. Like, be honest with you, I never wanted to. Because again, like any other young man, I went to play football. That dream got taken away from me, so I didn't want to get into recruitment. Because I remember when I was 16, I wish someone would help me get a job. Because again, you don't know nothing about recruitment, getting a job. And what I look to do is I look to help people get a job. So not only if they're not suitable for my job, I would give them information on
other roles
of what's going on in the market. Oh, look, your CV is really good, but this is what you need to do to get that next stage. So again, your experience with me, again, we call it a candidate experience, was great. So again, it's vice versa. You guys should technically question recruiters' experience, like how they treat you over the phone. They said they'll send me the job spec within the next couple of hours. Have they sent you the job spec the next couple of hours?
Yeah.
Are they keeping you communicated? You sent your CV over. They said you were here in 24 hours. Did they come back to you within 24 hours? Why not? Again, a good recruiter, if they say they're going to come back to you, they will come back to you.
And I think that's a powerful, sorry to interject there. I think that's a powerful message that you mentioned. Holding recruiters accountable.
Yeah.
If they've said they're going to do something, you've got to follow up.
Yeah.
That's always been my strategy working with recruiters and headhunters. Tons of them are my friends.
Yeah.
Make people accountable of what they say they're going to do.
Yeah.
And make sure that they follow through and execute it. So I think that's huge for the guys that are watching to understand how to work the sort of the interdynamics of working with recruiters.
And the thing about recruitment, we also have a high turnover, because again, loads of people fall into recruitment. They might join a recruitment agency that's not good and teaches them bad habits, and they might not like it and fall out. So, but again, it's your own personal experience with different recruiters will shape what you're like. Again, just don't go, oh, this person's worked for 10 years, they must be a good recruiter. No, actually speak to them.
Yeah.
Like, do they actually know what they're talking about? Did they give you information on the market? Are they actually giving you advice on how to get better? Or just say, no, you're not good for this job, but yeah, I'll keep your CV on file.
Yeah.
Okay, keep your CV on file for what? You're not giving me any insight into the market or what I can do to get better, or even give advice. Again, quite a few graduates, I speak to them. Again, I always try to say to graduates, manage your expectation. Because again, some graduates will come out and telling me they want three-figure salaries, and I'm like, but you haven't got any experience. Yeah, but I want three-figure salary. I'm like, manage your expectations. You need to get some experience with you first. Even if it's for a year or two, do this. So again, it's holding recruiters accountable, but also managing that relationship. Because again, when you're working with a recruiter, it is a relationship. It is a give and take.
Sorry.
A question off the back of that.
Yeah.
And a bit of a controversial question, because you're obviously a recruiter.
Yeah.
But what would you recommend for a candidate? For example, if a candidate, let's say, had a job that he could apply for directly to the company, or because I've had so many instances where I could apply directly to a company, or I could go for a recruiter who could then connect me to the company.
Yeah.
So obviously you might be a little bit biased.
No.
Recruiter, but would you recommend them applying directly to the company?
Yeah.
Or would you say that there's actually some benefits in going with a recruiter?
There's a lot of benefits going with a recruiter that people don't realize. I always try to educate people on. Again, my job is to help people get a job.
Yeah.
So I understand what CVs look like, because I look at CVs In a week, I probably look at over 1,000 CVs a week. I prep people.
Wow.
I speak to hiring managers and prep people for interviews. So again, I am a specialist on how to go through an interview process. Now, also the other stage, how to deal with an offer or counter offer. So if you're speaking to a recruiter that actually knows his stuff, that's an unvaluable tool that you pick your brain. Look, again, what I like to do is always, if someone's got an interview on a Monday, I would call them on Friday. How you feeling? How's your prep going? Is there anything you want me to give you more information on? What do you want to like to know? How you getting on? Let's go for a few questions. Let's make sure you're nice and ready. Then on the morning of the interview, give them a call again. Because again, we've all gone to interviews. Some of us, I know my brother is not like this, but yeah, for the actual normal people in the world, are nervous. Like, again, it's helping people calm those nerves. Like, how you feeling? Look, some interview tips. If you're feeling like restless and tired and don't know, take a sip of water. Relaxes you, refocuses you. So again, those tips that people don't know, some people might know it, some people don't, will help you in the whole interview process. Because again, if you apply directly with the company, you've applied. If you get an interview, okay, come to the interview.
Yeah.
There is no tips.
You're by yourself.
You're by yourself. While again, if you're with a good recruiter, they're like your big brother. They're going to give you advice. They're going to help you get that job.
Yeah, I was going to say that off the back of Nana's question, that's one thing that I've personally seen from recruiters, that if they're connected to the company, they share insights and nuggets of information that you might not know from speaking directly with the talent manager at so-and-so company. They can share things like, what does the hiring manager, what do they like to see in candidates? What's going to be the structure of the interview? What to expect? Feedback from other candidates. And those are all information that I've got from recruiters. I've had stories where, excuse me, I'm an hour before a presentation. My recruiter friend has given me a call and said, I've just got some feedback from another candidate. Slightly structure your presentation slightly different.
Okay.
And I think that's information that I would only get from a recruiter versus, directly from a...
And that's true, because again, with recruiters, we deal with God knows how many candidates at a time. So if we've got loads of people interviewing for a process and we're like, look, unfortunately, these loads of people have interviewed, they don't want to hear that I've sold to so-and-so. They want to hear your personality. So giving you that insight on the structure of the interview. And also just things like, this is what the business is looking to go into. Tailor your answers to that. Because again, they will say, okay, because again, as a manager, what managers do in the interview, they assess you compared to your team, and they assess you compared to, okay, can they fill a void in my team or fill a void in the business? So you just giving the textbook answers, okay, that's great. Give me textbook answers, but like, I want to see how you can sort of fill my void. So again, it's only when you speak to good ones. I'm not saying that everyone listen to all recruiters, but if you've got a good recruiter, again, I will say you will know if someone is good. If someone's really trying to help you get a job and give you information, checking in with you, prepping you, giving you as much information as possible. I've had candidates send me their presentation and I've been like, oh no, tweak this, tweak that, take that out, take that in. Because at the end of the day, that's helping you get a job. And also, you're most likely going to recommend that recruiter to anyone else. So, yeah.
And finally, off the back of that as well, there's this myth that if you go for a recruiter, you're not able to actually negotiate the salary that you could do if you went direct to the company. Could you just myth bust that for us?
That's an absolute
wait.
ongoing myth.
Wait. Can we just myth bust that? I've never heard that expression before.
Hey, listen, I'm making up words as we go along. Can you just settle that for us?
Yes, it is. Look, again, I'm going to break it down from 2 points of view. I'm looking at it from a 360 agency. Again, then when they work for a client, they charge the client for putting you in that role. So realistically, they would want to get as much money as possible for you, because again, they can charge that company more. But also with a talent acquisition, again, they might have a budget, but they'll try and get as much as possible. But again, what I do say to people, and again, this is where again goes back to the follow-up question you said about giving information. Again, we will hear an insight into the interview. How did the interview go? Yeah, it was okay, but we like him, so we're still going to offer him the job. Versus that person was freaking brilliant. We want it at all means going. Now, don't overplay your hand by you going. Again, if your interview was so-so, but they think you're worth giving a chance, but you're now saying negotiating salary, and you're saying, I want 10 to 20 grand more than what you've offered. that manager's not going, okay, I guess you're not the person I'm looking for. So again, the recruiter, again, have little nuggets that people are not aware of. And again, they will try and get you as much as possible. But again, they will also give you insight. Look, unfortunately, their budget is this, but they have yearly review of salaries. This is the benefits that come with it. Maybe we can try and get you hybrid 1 day in the office, maybe 2 days in the office. So yeah, the recruiters will try and negotiate. But then what I normally do in the interview process is I ask them at the beginning, what salary are you looking for? Now, after the interview, now that you've actually gone and done the interview, what's changed? Like, what salary are you looking for now? If it's changed from when I first spoke to you, why has it changed? Oh, I've done the travel and the travel is longer than what I thought it would be. So I need a couple more grand to cover that travel. Again, if you're saying that, it's easier for the recruiter to go, look, he wants to join, but unfortunately the travel is longer for him. We need a couple more grand to cover that cost of travel. Businesses will go, okay, let me see what I can do. Then I want 5-10 grand more. They'll say, why? Yeah, I just feel like it. That's not negotiating. That's you shooting yourself in the foot. That's literally it. Yeah. So yeah, that's a myth buster. Recruiters actually will probably negotiate better because they know little nuggets, or they'll be like, okay, this is the person, this is what the market's offering. Look, I know this candidate is asking for a lot, but realistically to find someone with that skill set in the market, he's 1 in a million. So again, things like that again, when you negotiate, again, as an individual, yeah, I want 10 grand more. And again, high managers are going to be like, why do you want to say 10 grand? They're not going to negotiate. They'll negotiate you differently the way they'll negotiate with a good recruiter. So yeah.
Yeah. And going back to the, just on the interview, because I was flicking through some of the, the questions that I know that the guys want to learn, to understand from this conversation. What are some of the things that, going back to that journey as a fresh, salesperson, no experience, just graduated uni, we've put together a good CV, we've gone through a few steps of the interview process. There's something that, particularly in tech sales, what they call graduate days, where they kind of put together 20 to 30 open day, put together 20 to 30 potential graduates and kind of get them to fight. It's like more go fight, guys.
Gladiators.
No, jokes aside, it's more kind of, they put you through behavioral questions, scenario-based questions. What are things that people can do in those scenarios where it's very competitive? You can't stand up because you don't have experience. What are some of the things people can do in those open days to really kind of put their best foot forward?
So for me, actually, open days is actually better when you don't have experience. Now, the reason why is they're seeing how you interact with other people and how you complete those individual tasks. Now, this is the best time for you to sell yourself. Again, looking at, back to what I said earlier on, transferable skills. Now, I've done an open day. I remember I was fresh out of uni, did an open day. Funny enough, I bumped into someone from the exact same uni as me. He did the exact same course, but I never bumped into him while in my 3 years at uni, coincidentally. But we had to do a presentation, smacked it out of the water. Had to sell something, smacked it out of the water. Again, that's your chances to show your skill set, show what you're about. Because if you go to an open day and you're the voice in the background, again, you're going to have personalities that are quite aggressive, they're quite go and lead to the front, but you also need to show your ability. And I think that's the thing about open days, is showing your ability, showing what you can do. Because if you don't, you could go to an open day, think you've done well, but then they'll be tell you no. Because again, if to work in sales, you have to be a certain type of person, an individual, because again, if you look at an open day, that's very similar to what you would deal with when you start at work. You're going to get other people that are fishing for that exact same job. What sort of separates you? What is your unique selling point that makes you different from everyone here? If you don't have a unique selling point, then why should I take you over someone else?
Yeah, I've got a really funny story actually. So 10 years ago, when I was going into the, I mean, it's not that funny, but it's worth mentioning. When I had a graduate assessment day, and we got to the presentation stage, which was the final stage. I can't quite remember what we had to present, but I just know my presentation just wasn't great. But one thing that I had was enthusiasm. So the VP of EMEA, when he offered me the job on the spot after the presentation, and he said, your presentation was terrible, rubbish. But one thing the room loved is your ability to be enthusiastic about something that you didn't really understand. but was able to somewhat grasp it and articulate some type of, you know, coherent explanation of what it is that we do.
Yeah.
And he said it was your enthusiasm that stood you apart, the ability to be confident and, you know, not care that you don't understand fully what we do, but just kind of take the challenge and, you know, just be very confident, I guess.
And then again, that goes back to what I said earlier on, transferable skills. It always goes back to transferable skills. Because again, I could leave recruitment and try and go to another industry. They'll say, okay, this person's worked in recruitment for 8+ years. What transferable skills can he go if he wants to do tech sales? If he wants to do this, you know, he might have to take a few steps back, but what's his transferable skill across? And again, one of the things I always try to say to candidates, especially when going to the interview stage, is get your personality across.
Yeah.
Because again, if you don't get your personality across, again, what can we work with to get you? Okay, this person's quite confident. He might not have the skill, the technical skill, but we can teach that. But he's confident.
Yeah,
we can work with that. This person is very analytical. Likes to analyze things. Okay, we can work with that and teach the confidence. So again, it's getting your personality across because again, people by people.
Yeah.
So
I had this expression, I think I've told it to you before, that I used to live by. I used to say to myself, either dazzle with brilliance or baffle with bullshit.
yeah.
And guys, I'm not saying that should be your motto moving forward, but it got me through, the early parts of the sales, those interviews and stuff. You know, it's either be very good at what you're talking about, or just be very enthusiastic.
Pretend to be good.
Yeah, or just be very enthusiastic about the nonsense that you're talking about.
And to sort of attach what you said there, it's actually very true. So my sister works in the pharmaceutical, not sales, actual part of pharmaceutical. Okay. And I was helping her prep for an interview. She was really struggling. So I said, look, let's do role reversal. I will be the interviewee, and she'll be the interviewer. Again, I've never worked in the pharmaceutical industry. She interviewed me and she was like, oh my God, how did you do so well in the interview? She's like, you've never worked in my industry before. But again, a lot of the things I've picked up from what she said, again, being brother, sisters, I picked up little bits and bits, but I was confident in my answers. I actually confident and delivered it in a way that she was like, oh, you actually know what you're talking about. Again, it comes back to personality, confidence, transferable skills. So,
and what would you say is the best way for people to prep for interviews? So I think prepping is probably something that will kind of set you apart.
Yeah.
And you know, with the statement that you mentioned, you know, dazzling. I feel like, you know, for myself anyway, I dazzle more when I'm well prepared. As much as possible. Because I come across more confident. So how can people best prepare for interview scenarios?
So again, with my company, what we do is when we do book people in for an interview, we send them an interview preparation. Like it's a website to go and look at interview type of example, competency-based questions, example tips. Because again, the structure of any question, no matter what industry, would never change. It's how to answer those questions. You start at the beginning. If you feel like we'll go back to English, the burger. Good one, good bit. Start off with a little introduction, a lot of meat and bun at the end. So again, it's each industry, no matter what question you ask, that's the same questions you're going to get. So, but I always say to people, you know, prep. So even if you look, actually, there's different types of prep. Let me just say this. For example, my sister is an in-depth prepper. She will prep for 5 days straight and on the morning of the interview. And I'm just like, what the hell are you doing? And then you got people like probably me and my brother. 24 hours. That's all we need. Because
again, 10 minutes before.
And again, there is no right or wrong way to prep.
I have a very good memory, guys. I have photographic memory. I need less time to prepare.
No. So there is no right or wrong way to prep, but prepping is important. Knowing about the job you're going to go for, knowing about the company you're going to go for. Because again, one of the common questions they ask in an interview, what do you know about us? And if you can't even answer that basic question, that interview is going to end very shortly. So knowing about the company, even knowing about what their goals are, how did they do last year, what they're looking to do this year. Again, all that information can be found on people's webpage, in Google, LinkedIn, and also knowing about your CV. Because again, if you send your CV over to a manager and they now book you for an interview, they will go through your CV. So if you've said in the interview, yes, I've done X amount of sales, and I look at your CV, but you said you've done this amount of sales. Now, straight away, you're sweating, you're going...
It's interesting, actually, because, on that point, because I've been in the room where my hiring manager's interviewing potential salespeople. And, you know, he's brought me in for optics, right?
Yeah.
A third, another
A second voice.
Yeah. Effectively, and people have put stuff on their CV.
Yeah.
And don't actually remember the stuff that they put, or can't actually articulate what it is that they've put on their CV.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge, right? I think it's important to not only know the company, also
know your
history,
CV.
know your personal interests, and
because again, the CV. If I look at, I've been in loads of interviews, either supporting or leading interviews. I will go through your CV, and if something doesn't make sense, I'm going to tailor my next few questions on. So wait a minute. You said you've made 100 grand in a year, but what was your target? My target was 5 grand. Oh, but you exceeded your target. Oh, no, I just hit it. So if you just hit it, how have you done 100 grand in a year? You know, straight away, you've just put numbers on the CV to put numbers to look flashy, but yet you can't answer those questions. So straight away, I'm either saying you've lied or you actually don't know what you're talking about. Again, go back to the first thing I said, that if you're a salesperson, you don't know your own KPIs and figures, it looks weird. But again, if you've never worked in sales, knowing your CV. So I see at uni, you did enterprise course, which you started a business from scratch. And what were you there? I was part of the accounting team. Okay, so what did you do in the part of the accounting team? Oh, I counted money. Okay, how did you count money? Did you have to open up a bank account? So again, those are little questions people be like trying to help you answer questions to get that transferable skills across. So prepping is very important, not just about the company, the role, reread the job spec again. So again, you will have a bit in the interview where you get to ask them a question, and people, that is very important because Pete, that's where's your time to shine. Oh, so I can see that you guys are looking to move into the fintech industry. How are you guys looking to do that? Oh, how do you know about that? Oh, I saw some research on LinkedIn. This is brilliant. Okay, in my first week of, if I am successful with you, how would the training go? What is it like working in the business? What's the good things? What's the bad things? Again, you showing that interaction is really, really good, really important as well. So,
and I think you made a really good segue actually to my next kind of mini agenda topic is how should people close the interview?
Yeah.
And what should that follow-up strategy look like? Because I think that's something that people often miss out on, and I think it's a good opportunity to also stand out how you close the meeting and also follow up.
I think the follow-up questions you ask in the interview is very important because again, the type of questions you ask leave an actual lasting thought with the manager. So say someone's had a very good interview, but those questions he asks, I've never been asked those type of questions. Like, let's say I've done retail sales, and if let's say if I want to move into the IT sales, what do you think would be the biggest thing I'll struggle with? Or what do you think I will need to learn quickly? It's like, this guy is actually saying, if I was successful, what would be things I need to work on? And what are the things I need to pick up on? So again, it is very important, but also follow up and go, oh, hi, thank you very much for the opportunity. I want to say thank you very much. Obviously, if you want any more information following the interview, let me know. I could get that to you. So again, you're showing that extra TLC, but asking the right type of questions. Like, I try to avoid salary in the interview. I try to avoid it because if you finish an interview, if you've done an interview and they go, have you got any questions? So how much are you going to pay me? You should never bring up salary. They should bring up salary.
Yeah, of course.
If they bring up salary, then you open it up and talk about it. How much is this role paying again? So what do I need to do to get that? Have I done a good enough interview to get 30K or done this to get 60K? You're like, relax. Like you don't need to jump the gun. So asking the right type of question, but also leaving a lasting thought in the manager as well.
Love that.
Yeah. And I'm conscious of time, and I think we can go on for hours. We'll probably need to book a second section.
Yeah, probably do.
But just to kind of round off this amazing interview, I think for myself, and just to segue into the question, for myself, and I think I've not told you this before actually, when I first started in the industry, I was very good with interviews, right? I could sit in front of someone, be very enthusiastic, show them, dazzle them with presentations, and I would get a job. But I would continuously fail in the first 6 months for, I think, 2 of my jobs. I think I didn't pass probation in...
Sorry.
I'm trying to be vulnerable here.
No, guys. I want you to be vulnerable here. The thing is, he says this and he looks at me because he's waiting for me to laugh. Listen, this is a safe space. It's a podcast. Tell us about your failures.
I'm trying to be vulnerable here, guys. So the first 2 months of my first role, my first proper role, I didn't make it.
Okay.
Got some water, bro.
Yeah.
So the first 2 months, one of them was more of a technical one because
Mm-hmm.
one of my roles I needed to drive. My driving was horrendous,
Yeah.
so that one was a bit of a technical one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the second one, same thing.
Yeah.
Like I just there were small things. I was so fresh into the industry
Yeah.
that even when I was taking Zoom calls,
Yeah.
I was in my pajamas, sitting on my sofa.
Yeah.
It's just these little things that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to obviously experience. And
Yeah.
I got to understand it. Even small things like sending emails.
Yeah.
I remember there was one time I'd made this silly mistake where, I put all the customers I was sending a mass email to
Yeah.
in a CC rather than BCC.
Oh,
they could
rookie
see-
mistake.
Rookie mistake, just
yeah.
rookie stuff,
Yeah.
right? So I'm just thinking to myself, okay, cool. If someone's fresh into the industry and
Yeah.
they're trying to get into sales,
Yeah.
how do they best prepare themselves for these little rookie things
Yeah.
so that they don't end up in predicaments that I ended up
Yeah.
in? Do you see what I'm saying? I had to learn the hard way.
And I'm going to be honest with you, there is no right way to prepare.
Really?
Realistically, it's on the business that empowers you to put you through a good training program.
Yeah.
It is. And to be fair, with some businesses, they offer, a lot of businesses offer like e-learning opportunities or other sources to learn some stuff. Always do that. Again, my manager was always on my neck going, Ab, have you done your personal development hour? I'm like, no, I haven't had enough time. He's like, how can you say there's not enough time in a day for you to develop, for you to learn a new skill?
Love that.
Like I'm one of those people, I'm not going to say my age because I don't want to make myself look like an old man, but I'm one of those people that believe that you never stop learning and don't be afraid to fail. Like when I first started off in recruitment, I started off like a house on fire and then went 6 months without doing anything. To the stage of I actually got put on a PIP. If anyone doesn't know what a PIP is, a performance improvement plan.
Yeah.
But I used it to go, because again, I'm someone that likes to self-evaluate myself. Okay, what have I done wrong? What can I improve on? What can I change? And I'm one of those individuals that I go and bug experienced people.
Yeah.
I love to go and bug them. Hey, I'm looking to do this. What's your thoughts on this? I'm looking to do this. What's your thoughts on this? If someone is a good experienced person, they will always look to help you. If they're not, then probably this company and this role is not the right for you. Again, there's nothing wrong with that, but a business should be giving you a good plan and a good training for you to prepare you to tackle certain things. Now, UCC and BCC, no company can help you with that. That's just a rookie mistake. That you
just
have-
stupidity.
once you do it, you know not to do it. But there's certain things like how to make a call. Again, you using you guys' industry, how to find the clients or how to find a lead, then how to action the lead on what to say, how to say it. If someone gives you this question, how to respond to that. A good sales training program should be giving you that information, especially if you're new into it.
Or you can click on edutechsale.com where myself and Jay and some other experienced salespeople can kind of walk you through some of these mistakes and kind of prepare you for what's to come. So let me segue into that.
And to just
Bit of promotion there.
and just to add to that, because again, learning, like there should never be your stop learning. Even if you're the best and you're the top, you should always keep learning. And just see as this, especially when you're starting in a new industry, which you've never done anything, you should be hungry to learn. You should be working late hours. You should be trying to learn new skill sets. What can I do to make myself better? Even projecting, okay, I'm doing this part of work. In 6 months, I want to be able to do the next stage of work. What do I need to do to make sure by the time I hit that next stage of work, I'm comfortable hitting the next stage of work to go to the next stage of work? So again, I think it's just that learning development as well, which is very important. Just don't think, oh, I've done the interview, got the job, I'm in.
Yeah.
No, that means you're now at the starting line of the race. So now, how you're going to tackle that race is very important. Yeah. But again, putting it back on certain businesses is their job to make sure to give you a good training plan. If not, again, you can come and see these guys. They'll probably help you tackle that as well. So it is important to take your learning development very seriously as well.
Yeah, and I love that. I think that's the kind of the always be learning, umbrella. I think that's a great kind of, as we round off the conversation, I think that's, you got to have that sponge mentality that I constantly want to improve and learn. And, I know that I might be good, but there's always an opportunity to get better. And I think that's absolutely the mindset that you want to have. to be successful in any capacity within sales.
Yeah. And the one thing I always say to people, if you ask anyone on my team, I am the most shameless person. I have no pride. I am probably the most prideless person, as in I am very competitive. Anyone that does know me, I'm very competitive. But when it comes to now, okay, someone's good at doing that, I am not ashamed to go ask them, how do you do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Why do you do that? Getting that skill set, like I'm not, even if someone who's 10 or 20 years younger than me, because again, the industry's changed, things have changed. You've now got, again, Gen Zs have probably got different ways of doing it, so speaking to them, how do I tackle that? You're always learning. So yeah, again, swallowing your pride and asking for help when you need to ask for help. Don't feel like, okay, I'm not doing anything, I'm going to tackle this myself. You know, you're just putting yourself in a deeper hole as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I think, so many nuggets there, honestly. And I hope you took notes, because, you know, we have someone here who, you know, effectively can help you get a job, explaining to you how to get a job.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you like content like this, make sure you like and subscribe. We have so many more contents. I think we're gonna have you back, Ab.
Yeah, I think
we can definitely dive deeper into some of these topics.
No, thanks for having me, guys. And the one thing I always do want to say to your listeners as well, especially if you're looking to move into a new industry, don't be picky. Like I always say to people, I don't know if I know we're short for time. Just to give you a sort of insight, like my sister's friend's sister, graduate, masters, everything, was looking for a job. And when I actually did end up finding her a job, she said she's dealt with so many recruiters. I was the only recruiter that actually helped her get a job. But I said to her, okay, where are you looking at the moment? She's from London, looking in London. I'm like, why? Why are you limiting yourself to a certain pool of people? Again, we're now in 2023. Things are hybrid. Things are remote. You know, traveling to Surrey, Kent, Sussex, which is just on the border of London, opens up your opportunities so much further. So again, don't be picky, especially when you're first going into the industry. Again, even if you might have to swallow that, you know, bread, beans and toast, you know, it's all about getting that skill set and getting that experience to then eventually get the money as well.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and just big thanks to Big Bro for coming out and, you know, to your point, sharing a lot of insight and nuggets of information. You're probably one of the biggest reasons as to why I got into sales, because I think we were at uni and I saw that you went into sales.
Yeah.
You were doing really well, and then naturally as a younger brother, I wanted to copy and
follow the footsteps.
Yeah, follow the footsteps and emulate that. So big thanks for getting me into sales and for joining the conversation today. And I'm glad. Hopefully the listeners found that useful. I'm sure they did. And we definitely got to get you back on for round 2.
Yeah.
100%. With that being said, guys, thank you again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys.
Cheers, guys.